we define risk as the likelihood of irreversible negative outcome in action is the greatest risk of all. Inaction, right? Okay, quitting your job. What to focus on, critical versus trivial. Creating time. Advanced deal structuring techniques. All right, critical tasks versus trivial tasks. Talked a lot about this yesterday. Revenue generating activities. Talking to sellers, making offers, marketing for sellers, marketing for buyers. If you look at your daily activity, if it does not comprise of that 95% of the time, then you're not in revenue generating activities. You're in trivial tasks, getting ink at the ink store, setting up your office, spending 80% of your time learning versus 20% of your time. Guess what? Guess when I learn? At the gym. I listen. I don't watch TV, right? I listen in my car if I'm either on a phone call or I'm in the car and my car is essentially my university. So in the gym, and the cool thing about podcasts or audiobooks, you can listen to it on 1.5 speed. 2 speeds, chipmunks, right? 1.5 speed, you can comprehend it and you can listen to it and digest it. And guess what? If a book is 3 hours, I can get through it in when? Hour and a half, right? So I can get through it quicker. And I can digest a ton of information. And guess what? I can go back and listen to it. There's some books I go back and listen to over and over and over again. So we learn where there's basically downtime. You learn at maybe 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock in the morning, right? You learn on those off hours. During work hours, you focus only 95% of your time on money-making critical tasks. Okay, make sense? Stupid thing. Okay, so people go, I don't have any time. Yeah, right. So, how do you create time? So let's say you wake up 2 hours earlier, but I'm tired. Sleep when you're dead. You're gonna be 6 feet under at some point in your life. You have plenty of time to sleep, right? You only live once. So wake up 2 hours earlier. If you do that, you'll create an additional 12 hours a week. If you multiply that times 50 working weeks, you take 2 weeks off for Christmas and things or whatever, 50 working weeks, essentially you're creating 600 hours a year of productive time, right? So you multiply that times 5 years, that's 3,000 productive hours. 3,000 productive hours over a consistent 5-year time frame. 3,000 divided by an average of 8-hour workday, 8-hour productive day, that's essentially creating over, I think it's like 370 something additional workdays. So if I get 6 years of productive time and you get 5 years, well, if I get 6 years and 5 years and you got only 5 years and 5 years, who's gonna be more productive? Who's gonna get more stuff done? Who's gonna achieve their goals faster? People go, how do you do it? How do you have a great family? How do you stay in incredible shape? How do you have a thriving businesses and how do you buy apartment complexes and run an event and have deals wired and do all that you do? No, you create time. You sacrifice. What do you sacrifice? Sleep. You can function on 6 hours of sleep. You can. The problem is the world out there says, you must get 8 hours of sleep to be healthy. And I'm not a doctor, so I'm not giving you medical advice, right? And I'm not saying you gotta go out there and only sleep 6 hours. All I'm saying is this what works for me. If you need 8 hours and you think you need hours, guess what? You're right. I would rather be rich than right. So you be right, and I'll be rich. Create time, okay? Wake up 2 hours early. Who's gonna wake up 2 hours early? You know what you can do in 2 hours early? There's so much stuff you can do. You can get your marketing done. And more importantly, you can have that half hour. Do you know where my best stuff comes from? Silence. So, my pastor, since it's Sunday at church, asked this question. His name is Pastor Ray. He's a phenomenal, amazing pastor. Anyways, he asked this question. He said, listen, how would you describe your internal world? Is it a raging ocean, a babbling brook, or a placid lake? How would you your internal world? Is it just this, how can you have chaos around you? Circumstances. We cannot control our circumstances. We only can control how we react to those circumstances. And our internal world will dictate how we react to those internal circumstances, those external circumstances. So on the external, things happen. On the internal, are you a raging ocean, a babbling brook, or a placid lake? And later this afternoon, after lunch, we're going to talk about how and why you cannot attract success being a raging ocean or a babbling brook. Can't do it. So how do you transform from a raging ocean and babbling brook to a placid lake? Where all the world's in chaos. There's things going on, there's circumstances, there's crap going on externally. But internally, we're poised, we're placid. Peace. Peace. Wouldn't you love to have peace? Peace. Peace of mind, peace of spirit, peace in every aspect of your life. That's what I'm talking about. Anybody want a little bit of peace in their life? We're going to talk about that. All right.